I hate to stir it up, but Afrojack has been talking shit about you. Anything you want to say? Who? Afrojack? Who? That's what I thought. Thank you.
Don't what's up me, you sucker. Don't what's up me, you sucker. I should black your eye.
Eminem and 50 Cent aren't just mentor and mentee. They're straight up like blood brothers. These two have held it down for each other through everything. Award shows, wild beefs, even career shakeups. And when it comes to drama, they don't play around. They go full beast mode on their rivals. They've gone toe-to-toe with some of the biggest names in the rap world, from iconic beefs with Ja Rule to falling out with their own squad like The Game. When 50 and M get involved, you already know it's about to get messy. Now here's where things got real spicy. In August 2023, Eminem linked up with Ez Mil on a track called Realist. Even though it was a big look for Ez Mil, Eminem snatched the spotlight with savage bars aimed straight at The Game. He wasn't just rhyming, he was taking shots with zero filter, reminding everyone that he's still a heavyweight in the rap game. Eminem fired off. All the envious rappers I torch if I'm on a joint with them, and that is the only retort is, I'm not played in the clubs. Motherfucker put a cork in it. Only reason they still play your shit in the clubs is cause you still perform. He was calling out The Game hard, especially after The Game tried to clown him for not getting club spins anymore. This tension goes way back, starting with 50 Cent and the G-Unit squad. The drama kicked off when Dr. Dre spotted talent in The Game and brought him into G-Unit to supercharge his rise. The idea was simple. Team him up with 50's crew and watch his debut album take off like a rocket. Some thought it was a power move. Others said The Game was just hitching a ride on 50's fame to fast-track his way to the top. Say what you want, but teaming up with G-Unit put The Game right in the big leagues, rolling with two heavyweights, 50 Cent and Eminem. When the documentary finally dropped, it wasn't just a debut, it was a full-blown takeover. Critics were hyped, fans couldn't get enough, and The Game proved he wasn't just hype, he had bars. Tracks like How We Do and Hate It or Love It became straight-up street anthems. His verses were fire, the stories hit deep, he was showing out on every track. But while everything looked golden on the outside, behind the scenes, the tension was heating up fast. As soon as the documentary started climbing charts, the energy between The Game and 50 Cent shifted. They still smiled for the cameras, but the cracks were showing loud and clear. It all started to unravel during the Hate It or Love It video shoot. Word got out that 50 straight up refused to sit next to The Game in the car. That one move set off a storm of rumors. Was it just ego? Or something way deeper? Nobody had answers, but fans could feel it. Something was going down. Things went left real quick. Even though the video itself was a hit, the behind-the-scenes heat kept rising. Then 50 dropped a bomb. On a radio interview, he flat out said The Game was out of G-Unit. No heads up, no spin. Just cut him off live on the mic. And just like that, it exploded. The Game pulled up to the radio station and chaos erupted. A full-blown fight broke out and shots were fired in the madness. It was straight up wild. After the smoke cleared, both sides tried to cool it down and pretend it wasn't serious. But the damage was already done. In March 2005, the world watched 50 Cent and The Game stand side by side, claiming they were ready to squash the beef and keep it pushing. But that so-called truce, it was over before it even started. After The Game officially cut ties with G-Unit, the crew didn't hold back. They came for him hard, calling him disloyal, saying he wasn't really built for the streets and questioning his entire image. But The Game? He wasn't staying quiet. He fired back the way he knew best, through straight-up lyrical warfare. He dropped 300 bars and running, and it shook the whole rap world. That diss track was ruthless. It didn't just spark a feud, it turned into a full-on lyrical bloodbath. From that moment, 50 and The Game were locked in, dropping track after track, tearing each other apart in front of the whole world. By 2006, The Game tried to switch it up. He started talking about ending the beef, wanting to fix things and make peace. But when trust's been broken like that, it ain't easy to fix. And 50, ice cold. He didn't say a word, didn't acknowledge it, just kept it moving like The Game didn't even exist. The feud went into overdrive. Over 100 diss tracks flew between them. That wasn't just beef, it was war. In 2010, The Game gave it another shot, hitting Twitter to publicly ask 50 to bury the hatchet. But once again, nothing. No reply. 50 didn't flinch. Even with the silence, The Game kept pushing for peace, trying to end the drama once and for all. But instead of a handshake, he got more heat. 50 came back with new tracks, throwing fresh shade and keeping the beef alive. Then in 2012, The Game went big. He launched a whole petition for a G-Unit reunion, hoping to bring the crew back together and make things right. But the answer, a solid number. By 2014, G-Unit made it crystal clear. They hit the Summer Jam stage for their official reunion, and the game was nowhere to be found. That moment said it all. G-Unit had moved on, and they weren't turning back. In 2022, just when things looked quiet, 50 Cent fired off more shade, this time clowning the game for posing in a photo with Lloyd Banks. 50 wasn't buying it, calling the move fake love. But the game tried to downplay it, saying the past was behind him and he had no more beef with 50. Seemed like things might actually cool off, until they didn't. Out of nowhere, the game lit up a brand new fire, and this time, he went after Eminem. He dropped a diss track called The Black Slim Shady, and it wasn't just a jab, it was a full-on attack. He threw shade at M, 50 Cent, and even Dr. Dre, turning up the heat like never before. The game held nothing back. On that track, he went straight savage, taking aim at M's legacy, personal life, and even name-dropping his daughter. The bars were cold, no mercy. It was clear he wasn't just venting, he wanted smoke. The internet lost its mind. Some fans were hyped, saying the game was brave for going at one of the biggest names in the game. They gave him props for dropping bold bars and shaking up the scene. But others, they weren't feeling it at all, calling the diss a reach and accusing him of chasing clout to stay in the spotlight.
The real reason I wasn't on the Super Bowl is because I'm not a safe artist. So it's just like, he not safe, so they went with the safe artist.
The release had hip-hop fans going at it heavy. Debates broke out, timelines blew up, and everyone was picking sides. Some backed Eminem, standing by his legacy and calling the diss weak. Others rode with the game, saying it took guts to challenge a legend like that. But the question that had everyone talking was, why now? Why come for Eminem after all these years? What really set the game off to go that hard and that personal? The timing had people scratching their heads and waiting to see if M would clap back. A big piece of the puzzle? The Super Bowl 56 halftime show on February 13th, 2022. It was a huge win for West Coast rap. Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, and Eminem tore down the stage at one of the year's biggest events, but the game completely left out, not even a cameo. And that cut deep. With all his history alongside Dr. Dre and his role in putting LA on the map, being left out of an LA-centered tribute hit different. Word is, behind the scenes, he took it personally. That snub may have been the final straw, the move that pushed him to aim shots at Eminem and reignite the fire. The game didn't keep it to himself either. He hit social media fast. He reposted IG stories that called out the halftime show for ignoring him, especially when it was hyped as a celebration of LA hip-hop. He made it loud and clear. He felt like he earned a spot on that stage and was robbed of it. Then he opened up even more on the I Am Athlete podcast. The game didn't hold back. He said getting left off that stage really hurt. He believed it wasn't about his skill. It was about how the industry viewed him. He claimed they thought he was not safe. Too raw, too real for a primetime moment. That hit even harder. In his eyes, his street rep should have been a badge of honor, not a reason to shut him out. He called out the way the game props up clean-cut, safe artists while pushing real ones like him to the sidelines. He wasn't biting his tongue. He wanted the world to know how the system really moves. Then March 2022 hit, and the game turned things all the way up. He popped up on Drink Champs with NORE and DJ EFN and dropped some serious heat. He said Kanye West had done more for his career recently than Dr. Dre ever did. That line alone had everyone's jaw on the floor. But he wasn't done. The game came out swinging, claiming he was better than Eminem, straight up. He said he'd take M on in a versus battle, bar for bar. No fear, no filter. He was coming for the crown and daring anyone to stop him. The backlash after Drink Champs was loud, but the game didn't fold for a second. Right after the episode aired, he jumped on Instagram with a video, standing 10 toes down on everything he said. No backpedaling, no sugarcoating. He made it clear. He still believed he was lyrically better than Slim Shady. He admitted not everyone was gonna see it his way, and that was fine. But in his mind, he had the edge. He even floated the idea of a straight-up rap battle or maybe even a collab to finally settle the score. Whether this beef between him, Eminem, and 50 Cent ever gets squashed, that's still a mystery. But wait, this whole saga's got another twist. Enter Nick Cannon.
The Mariah thing, yeah, that's true. Those rumors are true, and I'm not gonna deny them.
So did you date him?
No. Can I just clarify that I did not have a physical relationship with him? I did not have an intimate relationship. I've been with less men, then I can, then on one hand. So he's not one of those men.
Way back in the late 2000s, the hip-hop world started buzzing with rumors that Eminem had some kind of fling with Mariah Carey. Mariah quickly denied it, brushing it off like it never happened. But he wasn't letting it slide. He hinted he had receipts, or at least made it sound like he did. On his track Bagpipes from Baghdad off the Relapse album, Eminem went all the way in. Not just on Mariah, but on her then-husband Nick Cannon, too. He didn't hold back at all. He rapped, "Mariah, whatever happened to us? Why did we have to break up?" Then came the heat for Nick. Nick Cannon better back the bleep up. "I'm not playing. I want her back, you punk." And he kept swinging. "Nick, you had your fun. I've come to kick you in your sack of junk." It was wild, straight up disrespectful, and Nick Cannon wasn't about to let it slide. He fired back with legal threats, posting a Tumblr rant, since deleted, saying, "I don't know why no one has stood up to your," before cutting it off. The whole thing went from petty to personal real quick, and just like that, another messy feud was born. Nick Cannon wasn't just talking, he came in swinging. In that now-deleted Tumblr post, he fired off with, "Guess it's gonna take a corny, whack-rapping boy toy from Nickelodeon to set you straight. And trust, I'm gonna be relentless. Even though I got a lot of other obligations and occupations, you are my new full-time job, homie." Boom! Just like that, the beef exploded even bigger. And it wasn't just Nick throwing jabs. Mariah Carey stepped in too. She clapped back with her own hit track Obsessed, taking shots at a stalker-like figure that everybody assumed was Eminem. The real kicker? In the music video, she dressed up like M, rocking a hoodie and fake goatee. That move had the internet in flames. Things got real messy. But after a while, the smoke started to fade. For nearly a decade, the feud between M and Nick stayed low-key. It seemed like the drama had cooled off until 2019 rolled around. That's when Nick Cannon popped up on T.I.'s podcast Expeditiously. And just like that, the whole thing reignited. On the pod, Nick told a wild story about flying back with Eminem from somewhere, possibly Africa, and how M dropped another track throwing shade at Mariah. Still protective of his ex-wife, Nick wasn't about to stay quiet. He said he wrote Eminem a long, respectful letter.
He is fat.
That shit funny
He looked like he got a pack of hot dogs on the back of his neck.
Showing love for his skills, but calling him out for going too far. He tried to keep it grown, tried to handle it like a man without sparking more chaos. Fans actually gave Nick props for that move. He stayed calm, classy, and tried to settle it the mature way. But Eminem, he didn't take it that way. He saw it as a shot, and he doesn't let things slide easy. Instead of clapping back on socials, Eminem did what he does best. He hit the studio and unloaded on Fat Joe's track, Lord Above. In his verse, he spit, "I know me and Mariah didn't end on a high note, but that other dude's whipped. That he got him neutered. Tried to tell him this chick's a nut job before he got his jewels clipped. Almost got my caboose kicked." It was savage, no filter, pure Eminem. And just like that, the beef was reignited. Nick Cannon wasn't about to stay silent either. He came in swinging with a diss track of his own called The Invitation, and he didn't hold back at all. In the track, he dropped this line, "Call Kim. Somebody get Haley, and that other kid you raising that ain't even your baby. My baby mama killed you off a decade ago. You're still crying about it. Now who really?" Those bars were ruthless. Nick came straight for M's family, his past, and his pride. The track set social media on fire. The public reaction split right down the middle. Some people gave Nick props for finally standing up for his ex-wife and not letting Eminem keep taking shots without a response. They respected him for stepping into the ring and defending his people without hesitation. But others weren't feeling it. Critics accused Nick of dragging out old drama just to stay in the spotlight. To them, it looked like a reach, and some said it was time to move on already. The whole thing was starting to feel played out. Meanwhile, the media couldn't get enough. Gossip blogs, tabloid headlines, and entertainment sites had a field day. Every line, every diss, every tweet turned into clickbait gold. Fans were locked in, waiting for the next shot, the next wild line, the next viral moment. But in all that noise, there were still folks hoping for peace. Some fans wanted both of them to put the mic down and focus on the music, not the mess. They wanted growth, real maturity, not this never-ending back and forth. Still, the truth was hard to ignore. The feud had outgrown both of them. This wasn't just rap beef anymore. It was a full-blown saga that had taken on a life of its own. Eminem and Nick Cannon went back and forth for a hot minute through diss tracks, interviews, and slick little shots on social media. It wasn't just rap anymore. The drama spilled into every part of their public lives. At one point, Nick even flipped some of M's most controversial old tracks, trying to throw dirt on his legacy and flip the narrative. But lately, things seem way calmer, at least on the surface. The non-stop heat between Eminem, 50 Cent, and Cannon has cooled down. No more diss tracks dropping every week, and all three seem focused on new lanes, business moves, and life beyond beef. Still, not everybody's buying the peace act. Fans and insiders are watching everything like hawks, dissecting every lyric, every post, every interview. They're convinced there's still tension bubbling just under the surface, ready to blow up again with one wrong move. And let's be real, these guys got history. Real personal shots, straight disrespect, and years of wild back and forth. That kind of stuff doesn't just fade away. It leaves marks, and fans can feel it. People are always on edge, waiting for the next sneak diss or shady line to set everything off again. Some folks even think it's deeper than just ego. Is the whole feud real? Or are they playing chess, keeping their names hot in the headlines? Could the beef be part of the game? Another hustle to stay trending? Whether it's real, a strategy, or somewhere in between, one thing's for sure. This saga had people glued to the drama, and with a past this messy, fans aren't letting it go anytime soon. All it takes is one stray bar, one slick tweet, and boom, it could all come roaring back. And here's some extra context. Way back in 2005, Nick Cannon met Mariah Carey at the Teen Choice Awards. By 2008, they were married. So when Eminem dropped those vicious bars coming for both of them, their relationship was still fresh, and Cannon wasn't about to let that slide. That explains why he jumped into full defense mode so fast. He was ready to ride for his wife, no matter what. Even though Nick Cannon and Mariah Carey's marriage came to an end in 2016 after 8 years, his loyalty never wavered. He stood by her time and time again, especially in public, and they've stayed respectful for the sake of their twins, Moroccan and Monroe. But the drama didn't stop with M. 50 Cent got dragged deeper into the mess when Cannon started cracking jokes about him on his podcast. Nick went off, roasting 50's look, and even saying, he looked like he got a pack of hot dogs in the back of his neck. Wild doesn't even begin to cover it. At first, 50 played it cool. But you know 50, he wasn't going to let that slide. He fired back with a slick Instagram post that hit way deeper than just a clapback on appearance. In the post, he wrote about trusting in God, saying success comes from faith, not luck. But the real punch was in the caption. He warned everybody, especially Nick, about trying to use his name for attention. 50 said it loud and clear. If your marketing campaign is say something about 50, you're not going to make it. Translation? If you're trying to build your buzz by throwing shots at him, you're playing a dangerous game, and he sees right through it. Then, in true 50 fashion, he ended one of his shady messages with, "Have a nice day." But let's be real. The damage was already done, and the shots were loud. And this wasn't even the first time 50 came for Nick. Back in a 2020 interview on The Breakfast Club, he gave his unfiltered take on the Eminem versus Cannon feud. He didn't mince words, saying M lives for battle rap, thrives under pressure, and becomes lethal when tested. The convo shifted to Cannon's track Used to Look Up to You, and 50 confirmed, yep, that one was aimed at him, not M. But instead of catching feelings, 50 just laughed it off. He clowned Cannon's rap game hard, saying he's been legendary corny from the beginning. The hosts were dying laughing, and honestly, 50 didn't hold back at all. He summed it up with a simple, brutal mic drop. You suck, bro. In a more recent sit-down with Forbes' Brian J. Roberts, 50 Cent decided to keep it playful, but of course, still slid in some jabs. While talking about how he regretted buying himself a giant mansion, he cracked a joke aimed straight at Nick Cannon. He said something like, "A smaller house is all I need." But Nick Cannon and his 12 kids, yeah, they probably need a place that size. Classic 50, always sneaking in the shade with a smile. Even though things have seemed quieter between Eminem and Cannon lately, nobody's convinced it's really done. That tension still lingers in the air, and fans know it only takes one bar, one sly joke, one petty post for the whole thing to blow up again. And just when you think the beef might finally be over, another chapter begins. Before the whole M versus Cannon mess even took off, 50 Cent was already knee-deep in another legendary feud with Ja Rule. That one started way back in the late 90s and came out swinging with wild street stories and non-stop drama. It all began in 1999 when Ja Rule got robbed at gunpoint during a music video shoot. Word on the block was that someone connected to 50 Cent snatched Ja's chain during the robbery. According to 50, a few weeks later, Ja spotted him and the alleged robber at a club and gave him a death stare. That moment, 50 says it sparked the whole beef. But Ja Rule had a different take. He admitted the robbery happened, but claimed he never saw 50 Cent with the guy that night. According to Ja, the real issue was that 50 felt iced out by Murder Inc., Ja's crew, after being left out during the filming of the track Murder for Life. No matter which version you believe, one thing's for sure: 50 wasn't letting anything slide. That same year, he fired off a diss track called Life's on the Line, throwing direct heat at Ja and Murder Inc. It was meant to drop on 50's debut album Power of the Dollar, but that project ended up shelved before it could officially hit the streets. Meanwhile, Ja Rule's debut album Veni Veti Veci was exploding, racking up sales and stealing all the spotlight. The tension was real and about to go next level. By 2000, the tension between 50 Cent and Ja Rule turned into straight-up smoke. Both were booked to perform at the same club down in Atlanta, and what should have been just another night on stage turned into a full-blown showdown. Words flew, tempers snapped, and things got physical real fast. But that wasn't the end of it. Things got way more dangerous. Later that year, 50 and his G-Unit crew were at the Hit Factory Studios in NYC, laying down tracks. That's when Ja Rule and the Murder Inc.'s crew rolled up, supposedly tipped off that 50 was in the building. What went down next? It got ugly. The vibe went from tense to violent in seconds. 50 Cent ended up getting stabbed by Murder Inc. rapper Black Child. That moment didn't just add fuel to the fire, it set the whole thing ablaze. From 1999 to 2002, this beef was no longer just lyrical. It was war. Then came 2002, when 50 dropped his breakout hit Wanksta. The streets were buzzing and everyone took it as a direct shot at Ja Rule. The track exploded, hitting number 13 on the Billboard charts. It wasn't just a banger, it was a bold message. 50 had arrived and he wasn't backing down for nobody. But just as his star was rising, his street image caught a hit. Irv Gotti, the boss over at Murder Inc., went public with claims that 50 had filed an order of protection against him and Ja Rule. And in the rap world, that's major. It painted 50 as someone ducking heat instead of standing tall. 50 clapped back quick, denying it all, and eventually the facts came out. The order was filed, but not by him. The NYPD did it automatically after the studio fight. That cleared up the mess and kept his name solid in the streets. Between 2002 and 2003, the battle went full throttle in the booth. Diss tracks flew like bullets. 50 came at Ja with I Smell Peacree Back Down, and even dropped a savage remix of Hail Mary that straight up mocked Ja's whole image and style. It was relentless, and fans couldn't look away. The beef had officially hit peak level, and the entire hip-hop world was locked in, watching it all unfold. Those late-stage diss tracks from 50 Cent, especially Hail Mary, cut deep. That one hit a nerve by calling out Ja Rule's alleged obsession with Tupac, straight up accusing him of biting Pac's whole vibe. 50 didn't hold back. He painted Ja as a wannabe, trying too hard to tap into Pac's energy. And Ja, he wasn't about to let that slide. He clapped back with tracks like Loose Change and Guess Who Shot Ya, throwing some serious heat and keeping the feud alive. Each new drop from either side felt like another punch in a heavyweight match. Fans were glued to it like a pay-per-view fight. This beef didn't just burn, it blazed from the early 2000s all the way into 2019, with wild twists and moments in between. In 2007, Ja Rule tried to flip the whole narrative. On Hot 97 with Angie Martinez, he said 50 had actually copied his style after signing with Shady Records. According to Ja, once 50 started blowing up, he started sounding and moving just like him. Ja basically said 50's whole wave wasn't even original, that it was a remix of what he'd already done. Then things got a little strange in 2013. Out of nowhere, Ja shocked everyone during an interview when he admitted that 50 had won the beef. Yep, he actually said it. That was major. After years of throwing shots, Ja practically waved the white flag. And right after that, things got even more surreal. Ja and 50 ended up on the same flight, sitting in the same row. Ja even tweeted about it and fans went wild. People thought, wait, are they squashing it? It was the first flicker of peace the world had seen between them in over a decade. But that truce, it didn't stick. At Hot 97 Summer Jam that same year, 50 jumped back on stage and performed I Smell Peacree, one of his most savage diss tracks aimed directly at Ja and the Murder Inc. camp. Just like that, the beef was reignited, loud and clear. 50 wasn't done, not even close. In 2014, Ja Rule took things to a whole new level when he dropped a bomb in his memoir, Unruly, The Highs and Lows of Becoming a Man. He claimed that 50 Cent snitched, alleging that 50 gave info to the police that sparked a federal investigation into Murder Inc. In the rap world, that's not just beef. That's betrayal on another level. 50, of course, denied everything the following year in 2015. Even as other rap feuds like Drake versus Meek Mill took over headlines, 50 and Ja made sure the world knew their feud was built different. They even hit Twitter to remind folks that their war made other beefs look soft. They agreed on one thing, Drake and Meek, light work compared to the chaos they'd been through. Then 2017 rolled around, and Ja Rule took another big hit. This time, it was the Fire Festival disaster. The event was sold as a luxury experience, but ended up stranding guests with no food, no shelter, and no music. And who was ready to pounce? You already know, 50 Cent. He wasted zero time clowning Ja online, dragging him through the mud for being tied to the scam. By 2018, it was full-blown war all over again. Ja fired shots at 50 on Twitter, and 50 went straight into savage mode, dropping brutal memes, wild tweets, and keeping that same early 2000s energy. The insults were personal, non-stop, and straight disrespectful. But 50 didn't stop there. He made what might be the pettiest move in rap beef history. He claimed he bought 200 front-row tickets to J. Rule's Vegas concert just to leave the seats empty. Then he photoshopped himself chilling in a row of vacant chairs just to troll Ja in front of the world. That level of petty, straight legendary. And the feud? Still smoking hot. In 2019, Ja kept the shots coming, this time coming at 50 for his ties to Tekashi 6999. By then, 6999 was facing serious legal heat and had gained a rep for cooperating with the feds. Ja didn't hold back. He called both 6999 and 50 rats, going public with the comparison and questioning their loyalty on blast. This beef wasn't fading, it was evolving and staying as messy as ever. Meanwhile, Eminem got dragged into the chaos, not by choice, but through loyalty. Unlike most of his beefs where he fires shots straight from the booth, this one kicked off because he stood solid behind 50 Cent. Ja Rule took a cheap shot at M in his diss track Loose Change, and he crossed a serious line. Ja didn't just come for M, he came for his whole family. He rapped, "M, you claim your mother's a crackhead and Kim is a known slut. So what's Haley gonna be when she grows up?" That line didn't just stir drama, it set the internet on fire. Fans were shocked, and M, he was not about to let it slide. He clapped back with Haley's Revenge and a vicious Hail Mary remix featuring 50 Cent and Busta Rhymes. After that, it was on. Ja answered with clapback, and M hit right back with Go to Sleep. These weren't just diss tracks, they were full-on lyrical attacks. The tension was thick, and the beef got personal real fast. By 2004, M had enough. He dropped a track basically saying the beef was dead. His label had already won. He called the whole thing childish, a waste of energy, and not worth his time anymore. Still, by the mid-2000s, people noticed something. Ja Rule's name mostly came up when 50 Cent or Eminem were involved. In one interview, Ja even talked about ending the feud, but then flipped and said he and 50 would always be enemies. That switch-up only added more fuel to the legend, making their feud one of the most bitter, drawn-out rivalries in hip-hop history. And just when things seemed like they might calm down, another storm started brewing, this time between Eminem and Joe Budden. It didn't explode overnight. It was a slow build that started in 2011 when Joe and his rap supergroup Slaughterhouse signed with M's label, Shady Records. Slaughterhouse, made up of Joe Budden, Royce da 5'9", Joel Ortiz, and Crooked Y, was respected for gritty bars and real lyricism. When they joined Shady, fans had high hopes. They wanted that raw sound to finally get the spotlight, without losing its edge. But things didn't go quite how people expected, and the tension started creeping in. Once work kicked off on their major label debut, Welcome to Our House, things started getting rocky. Eminem stepped in as executive producer, bringing a vision that leaned toward polished beats, catchy hooks, and a radio-ready vibe. But that clean-cut direction clashed hard with Slaughterhouse's raw, underground flavor. For Joe Budden, that shift was a problem. A big one. He wasn't some new rapper chasing a deal. He'd already earned stripes in the gritty mixtape world, building a solid fan base by keeping it real and unfiltered. Now, with M steering the ship toward mainstream waters, Joe felt like Slaughterhouse was losing its edge and its identity. Behind closed doors, the creative tension started piling up. And Joe, he wasn't the type to keep it quiet. On his podcast, he aired it all out. He said straight up that Slaughterhouse would have been better off without Eminem in control. In his eyes, the group didn't need to be polished. They were already festival stage monsters who didn't need to be remixed for the charts. That hit different, coming from someone who was actually inside the Shady family. Joe wasn't just throwing shots at a producer. He was questioning one of the most respected names in the game. And just like that, the peace between him and M was shattered. Joe felt like Slaughterhouse didn't need a cosign. They already had the skills, the catalog, and the fan loyalty. They could have built their own empire without changing their style for anyone. But it wasn't just about control. Joe also had major issues with the music itself. He called the beats horrible, saying they didn't match Slaughterhouse's energy at all. He didn't just blame M either. He pointed fingers at Paul Rosenberg, M's longtime manager. Joe believed the whole project was mishandled, that they tried to force a sound that never fit. Instead of blowing up, the group lost momentum and started fizzling out. That frustration built up over time, until it finally boiled over. The respect was gone. The tension, unbearable. And just like that, the fallout became public. The moment that lit the fuse, Eminem's Kamikaze album. On that project, M came out swinging, throwing lyrical jabs at rappers like Machine Gun Kelly, Die Antwoord, and Lil Yachty. But when he aimed one at Joe Budden, that's when it got real personal. Joe didn't drop a diss track, nah. He went straight to the podcast mic and lit it up. He didn't just critique M's bars, he went for the man behind the mic. Joe dragged M's character, his decision-making, his place in the game, and even questioned his business smarts. It was clear this wasn't about one line. Joe had been holding on to that heat for a long time. He felt like Slaughterhouse got the short end of the stick, that M didn't give them the push they needed, and instead boxed them into a corner they didn't belong in. The betrayal Joe felt, it ran deeper than just music. Then KXNG Crooked, another Slaughterhouse member, stepped into the convo. On IG Live, he confirmed that, yeah, the fallout was real. Crooked said Joe had been frustrated with M for years, especially over how the group's career was handled, or better yet, not handled. That bit of behind-the-scenes truth just made the whole situation messier. This wasn't your regular rap beef. It was pride, pain, and silence exploding after years of build-up. Joe had already been critical of M's Revival album, and that only added gas to the fire. Fans pointed straight to M's Chloroseptic remix, where he took aim at critics in reaction videos. Many were convinced those bars were laser-focused on Joe. The tension thickened fast. Then Bizarre from D12 came charging in, calling Joe out publicly for trashing M. But Joe wasn't backing down. He fired back with a physical threat, warning Bizarre not to test him. Things weren't just lyrical anymore. They were starting to feel personal and physical. That's when 50 Cent pulled up and turned the pressure all the way up. He posted a photo of Joe Budden on Instagram with a slick warning saying Joe had a swooping coming. It was a loud signal. 50 was fully riding for M. Now Joe had two industry giants coming at him, and the drama, it was about to go nuclear. By 2018, the tension was front and center. Eminem sat down for a rare, no-holds-barred interview with Sway that had fans locked in. They dug deep into the backlash from Revival, the surprise drop of Kamikaze, and of course, all the smoke with MGK and Joe Budden. Eminem didn't sugarcoat a thing. He said straight up, "Me and Joe Budden aren't friends like that. We didn't go to high school together or anything. But I was out here flying around, doing interviews, using my platform to hype up Slaughterhouse, every chance I got. Meanwhile, he's using his platform to trash me. That's the mindset I had making Kamikaze. Like, okay, let me give my opinion on everybody." He also opened up about the downfall of Slaughterhouse and the long-lost Glass House album. M said they had enough songs to release the project, but the group couldn't get on the same page about what should make the final cut. This wasn't just a personal falling out. It was a creative mess, a clash of visions, and a whole lot of miscommunication all rolled into one. Eminem explained that at the time, he thought they'd just take a break, regroup, and come back with a couple more tracks to lock in the album. But what happened instead? Crickets. No updates, no studio sessions, just silence. By then, M had already shifted gears and was all in on Revival. The Slaughterhouse momentum had died off, and the spark never came back. So, yeah, the beef with Joe Budden ran deep. But it wasn't just about disses. It was about trust, creative vision, and a group that never got the send-off fans were hoping for. The fallout was real, and the wounds still raw. Eminem also opened up about why Welcome to Our House got hit with so much backlash. Fans said it sounded too clean, too commercial, nothing like the raw energy Slaughterhouse was known for. That's why M chose to step back during the process. We left the ball in their court, he said. I didn't want to take control, just gave my input on the songs. Then, out of nowhere, Joe Budden stirred the pot again, asking, who got the money? M was caught off guard. What money? I don't even know if I made a dime off Slaughterhouse. I didn't care. I believed in them. That line? Heavy. You could feel the frustration behind it. In this rap game, you need more than just bars. Sometimes you need a mentor. Sometimes you need loyalty. And sometimes you need someone who's not afraid to drop a savage verse to shut it all down. Eminem and 50 Cent? They've shown they've got it all: loyalty, legacy, and lyrical heat. Whether they're standing side by side or throwing shots in a battle, their bond runs deep and their impact, unmatched. If you were locked into this wild ride through one of hip-hop's most iconic feuds, make sure to drop a comment below and let us know your favorite moment. Hit that like button if you're feeling the vibe, subscribe so you don't miss a single twist, and share this with someone who loves rap drama as much as you do. See you on the next one.